When the court first pushes back, it's in 1995. It's a case called United States against Lopez.
After almost 60 years of supporting the federal government whenever it used the Commerce Clause, the court hands down two decisions that say the states have laws to address these problems that don't affect interstate commerce. So the Commerce Clause doesn't apply.
These cases are shots across the bow. So they tell Congress, we're watching you.
But the court also continues to support some use of the Commerce Clause. So when the Affordable Care Act is challenged in the Supreme Court in 2012, it's unclear how the court will decide. But everyone agrees that it's going to be a big showdown over
what's called the Commerce Clause.
The Commerce Clause.
Commerce Clause.
Is this commerce as the Commerce Clause is written?
The federal government is trying to come up with a way of guaranteeing health insurance to all or almost all Americans.
Depending on how you frame the issue, this could seem like an unprecedented expansion of federal authority, or it could seem like something that's actually not that unusual.
The law wants people who don't have insurance to buy it. One side argued that making people buy something is unconstitutional, that the Commerce Clause doesn't give Congress the power to regulate economic inactivity, that is, to make people do something they weren't already doing. The other side said, well, wait a minute, it's all economic activity because everyone needs healthcare at some point, and making the choice not to buy insurance actually costs everyone more money in the end, because if something happens to you, we all pay for it anyway. Well, 5 members of the court argued that the Commerce Clause only regulates activity.
So if you're doing something, Congress can regulate you. If you're inactive, Congress can't.
Normally, that would be a majority, case closed. But 5 justices, including Chief Justice John Roberts, who wrote the decision for the majority, said the healthcare law can stand because Congress isn't actually making anyone buy anything. It's just handing down a fine if you don't. That's called the individual mandate, and that's a tax. And Congress, right here, has the power to do that.
They ended up upholding the individual mandate, but on the grounds that it could be viewed as a tax, and therefore could be supported by the taxing power, a different power of the federal government.
Since Congress has the power to tax, the healthcare law stands.
The government only needs one power.
But where does this ruling leave the Commerce Clause?
Well, it's probably by itself not going to be that important because the Congress doesn't generally regulate inactivity. But it does suggest that this Supreme Court is more comfortable reining in the federal government when it comes to the Commerce Clause.
So here we are in an age where we can buy a phone, download an app, take a picture of ourselves, and someone can see it 10 states away in an instant. But we're still fighting the same fights the framers did over the power of a national government. Back in 1819, John Marshall said the argument of federal versus state power was always coming up, and that it will probably continue to arise as long as our system shall exist.
He was right then, and he's right now.
Vague as it is, the Commerce Clause is where the Constitution gives the federal government a lot of power to make laws that the states have to obey. It's a constant source of tension, but that's because the framers left a little room for us to work it out.
We want to be a nation, we want to be a great nation, but at the same time, we believe in state and local government. We believe in free enterprise, and we think there ought to be limits to the federal government's authority, and the Commerce Clause is the site for fights over our deeply held beliefs.
The Commerce Clause underlies so much of what contemporary American life is all about. It was set up by our founders, who were smart enough and humble enough to realize they didn't have the answers to everything. I think they would look and say, we did well. It allowed us and the Congress to devise modern solutions to modern problems.